A stabbing victim has been hospitalized and a suspect is behind bars following a Wednesday altercation in Alliance. With a Thursday edition of the Panhandle Roundup, I'm Victoria Kramer. The Nebraska Rural Radio Association reports that officers responded to a 911 call in regard to a stabbing that occurred inside a residence. When law enforcement arrived, the suspect was arrested without further incident and the victim was transported to the Box Butte General Hospital and taken by Airlink for further treatment. The case remains under investigation. And earlier this week, the Gering City Council approved the first major grants from the city's Hotel Occupation Tax Fund, as the Scottsbluff Gering Noon Lions Club was awarded more than $9,000, marking one of the two grants awarded after the WNCC Foundation's 2024 Platte Valley Company's Monument Marathon previously received nearly $7,000. 2024 marks the first year in which the City of Gering is doling out funds from the lodging occupation tax. The Nebraska Rural Radio Association reports that funds will be handed out twice a year in both major and minor funding request categories. And today marks the beginning of a 4-day journey across the Great Plains of Nebraska to raise awareness for children's mental health. The 2024 annual Pony Express ride will see several volunteer motorcyclists traveling 900 miles to collect letters and advocate for mental health resources. The trip began in Scottsbluff this week, and during the ride, bikers will reenact the old-style form of mail delivery used during the days of the Pony Express. That ride will finish on the 18th with a celebration at the state capitol. The Canadian wildfires and other fires across the northern parts of the country affects our air quality. The Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services said that the smoke will return throughout the end of the month and summer. National Weather Service Warning Coordinator Sean Jacobs says residents that are sensitive to the smoke need to take the proper precautions to ensure good health.
However, the pattern does look favorable that smoke from northern Canada, so northern Alberta, northern British Columbia, could drop south across the plains. Now, whether it impacts us or not, that's still questionable depending on how much mixing occurs in the atmosphere.
Low normal to average due to the above average precipitation that we have been getting.
You know, really over the next couple months, it's going to be quite low, and that's because we're not in wildfire season right now unless you're in drought. You have green fuels out there, so the spread of wildfire is going to be minimal.
In the Weather Center, Justin, can we expect smoky conditions continuing this week?
Thanks, Victoria. We can expect some smoky conditions for the rest of this week to finish out the work weekend into this weekend. Right now in the Panhandle, just mainly clear and sunny skies, and with those clear and sunny skies, temperatures in those 60s and 70s. 70 in Alliance, 69 in Scottsbluff, 70 in Gordon, and 68 in Kimball. And it looks like those temperatures are going to be sticking around in those 60s and 70s for the rest of today. Winds are blowing in from the north and from the northwest at about 3 to 6 miles per hour across the viewing area, and it looks like for the rest of today those temperatures are going to stick around in those 60s and 70s with mainly sunny skies. And then for tomorrow, highs in the 80s with those sunny skies, and then into this weekend into those mid 70s with those sunny skies sticking around for Saturday. And then on Sunday we'll stick around in those mid 80s and a chance of rain and thunderstorms to finish out for the weekend in the Panhandle. So that's it for weather. Victoria, back to you.
Thank you, Justin. And Nebraska's primary voter turnout is lower than expected. Nebraska Secretary of State Bob Evans' 35% prediction. Right now, it's around 27%, mainly due to mail-in and early voting.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to predict turnout in the post-COVID world.
So we just didn't have the turnout at the polls that we thought we were going to have.
Now, the primaries also saw some good. Evnen considers the new voter ID implementation as a success. Wiltgen adds November's election will be a true test for voter ID because voter turnout is expected to be more than double. And in the Nebraska courtroom news, a Juanita man will be spending more than a decade behind bars. 53-year-old Corin Potts has been sentenced to 15 years for receiving and distributing child pornography. In March of 2023, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received cyber tips from a storage account with explicit photos of children, which then turned over to the Nebraska State Patrol after learning about his past crimes. Investigators interviewed Potts and admitted to the content on his phone. 85 video files and more than 200 images were found with explicit content. And those looking to go into nursing, this might be the right time. Changes in the state of Nebraska nursing scholarship program mean bigger scholarships and expanded eligibility. Here's how it looks. Nebraska residents enrolled in a licensed practical nurse program, associate degree of nursing program, or traditional or accelerated Bachelor of Science in nursing programs are eligible for scholarships up to $5,000. In 2022, DHHS granted $5 million for nursing scholarships through the American Rescue Plan Act. The fall of 2024 application is already opened, and the deadline to apply is July 31st. And that's all we have for now. Remember to join us weekdays for the Panhandle Roundup, covering the stories in the Panhandle that matter to you. Have a great day.